Ever tried getting sober and realised it's like assembling IKEA furniture without the instructions? Yep, except the stakes are way higher, and you can't just chuck it out once it falls apart. Hey guys, hey Daywalkers, Creatures of Night, I'm L.E.O. Lothbrook, and this is Life Equals Opportunity, a podcast about recovery, sobriety, and everything they don't warn you about when you decide to turn your life around. Whether you're on day 1, year 10, or just sober curious, you're in the right place. I ain't got all the answers, but I do have a microphone and a coffee. What could go wrong?
All right.
Welcome, Daywalkers and Creatures of the Night, to Life Equals Opportunity, the podcast that covers absolutely everything in recovery, and hopefully the bits they haven't told you about as well. Today's show is a bit special. We have a very special guest, a very good friend of mine who's come in. I call her my sober sister. I'm calling her Sister Linda, but I'll just go with Linda today because I think it'll be easier. What I'm going to do just before I start the show, I hope you're all well. How are you all? Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for finding the time in your day to not only give yourself the best chance of recovery, or even just clearing your mind of your itty bitty thoughts. It's a real I've lost my thought there. It's just really good to have you. So it's a chance for you to really get in depth, think about what's going on in your life, get to grips with stuff. And the guest today, we're going to cover. We've got some questions lined up in case we need those as well. But we've known each other a while. She is the reason I found my true faith. It is because of this lady that my higher power was able to use as a vessel to bring the light completely back into my life. We'll get onto that, I'm sure, if not today, another day. But before we begin, I always like to just say a little prayer, and it just sets the tone. So, Linda, if we just take a moment, and then after we've done this, I'll let you come in and introduce yourself and just say hi.
Okay.
So, grant me the clarity to see the path before me, the courage to face the challenges that come my way, and the wisdom to discern what is within my power to change. Guide me to live with humility and gratitude, to find peace in the present moment, and walk this journey with purpose and an open heart. May this space be one of reflection, connection, and hope as we seek to grow together, one step at a time. Now, the author is unknown on that. Amen. So, Linda,
Amen.
welcome to Life Equals Opportunity, and welcome to the studio. We are up and running, and you always said to me, if I ever needed anything, just ask. And I reached out to you, and I think it took approximately 29 seconds to get the response of a yes. So this is where we find ourselves. This is where we are. So I'm going to just let you introduce yourself a little bit. You can say just what you want about yourself, just a little thing, and just settle in, and I'll hand it over to you for a second.
Hi, everyone. My name's Linda. I hope y'all are doing well today. Chris or Leo, thank you for letting me on the show, and I look forward to doing this podcast with you. And my hope for today is to give some hope and some light, and share with you whatever you want me to. I'm 25 years sober from alcohol and drugs, and I'm so much more than that. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much.
No problem, Linda. Thank you. And I don't know if you heard that was 25 years sober. So you can tell that I have, very good, strong recovery around me. I've put myself with what we call the winners. And so I met Linda in one of our recovery groups. I also, as you know, suffer with multiple addictions and have used multiple facets of recovery, different 12-step programs, different counselling methods. And recently I opened up a new way, which is what I didn't realise is when you do these Q&As, you can really strike a chord. Now, I don't know if I think you heard the one we did the other day, Richard, my friend Richard and I, where he was asking questions and he asked me one that I had written, and was you listening, Linda? When and my reaction, it really took me back, and I dealt with some trauma. I don't know if you picked that one up, Linda, or not.
I haven't finished listening to that one, but I heard the very beginning, yes.
Yeah, brilliant. With when you get around to it, do, because that's the one that I've got lots of trauma and had lots, because I've got 40 years of using and abusing, so there was always going to be stuff to find out. And what happened the other day, Richard asked me a question, which I'm going to ask you at the end, Linda, and I'm going to save this question now for the end of the show because he put a different spin on it.
Okay.
So we'll save that one till last. So tell us a bit about yourself, how did you end up in recovery? Because, when I look at you now, the lady that I've met and come to love and cherish and just love being around, I would never have put your past together like that. And that's possibly some of the stigma that is always around addictions. Like we see someone for who they are now, and we've struggled to see who they were or who they could be. So yeah, I'll hand it over to you.
So for me, I had been taken advantage of, if you will, as a young girl, and that went on for a while. And when I got pregnant at 17, I was pregnant with twins, and I lost them at 8 months pregnant. And I found drugs. I found meth and alcohol, and I did that for 11 years. And I drank since I was 17, and then I went to meth, and then I did both. And because I thought love meant sex, and I thought that the only value I had was with my body. And we can get more into that if you like, but what ended me in recovery. So I'm going to tell you the end of my journey. So, my kids were 8 and 9 at the time, and they deserved to have a life. They deserved love, and they deserved to have friends. And they couldn't have friends because of who I was. So I went outside and I cried to God. And I said, God, please remember me. And I put a blowtorch in my mouth and that was September 15th, 1999. I put a blowtorch in my mouth because they would be better off without me. But, I had a fear of hurting myself, so I didn't have the courage to out myself. So I sat there and I cried and I prayed and I said, okay. I said, God, the only thing I'm going to ask you, I know I'm going to die a statistic. I accept it. Yeah, I'm too far in. Just give my kids a loving home. So September 16th, 1999, I woke up in the morning and I told my children to pack a bag. We were going on a trip. And the trip was they didn't know, to CPS, which is Children Protective Custody. And I prayed that God would keep them together and give them a loving home. Well, you can't give your kids away sober. So I went on a last run and I got arrested coming back.
Oh, no.
When I was in that jail cell, God clearly said to me, if you don't pick up, I will remove your obsession. And remember that prayer I prayed that God would put them in a loving home?
Yes.
I didn't know at that time that I was their loving home. My father picked me up and put me back on solid ground so that they would have a loving home. And I got involved and I started doing those hard step work and started coming to believe and the inventory and repairing the relationships with God, with myself, and with others, and then maintaining those. And today I sponsor and I speak and I help as whoever wants to talk, I'm always available.
Absolutely, you are, as I know that personally, and thank you very much for that, Linda. Do you know what? I just love our conversation. I always learn more about you, and as you're speaking, obviously, and as we go through this, things are going to chop and change as I'm going through my show. None of it's set in stone, and what I've realised is there was a lot of insight there, and because of your years and years of experience, and as we know, that only means we have today. It would be really interesting because we're in month one, and I think you know that I'm redoing my own program again, and I'm doing a step a month. So would you feel okay about sticking, if we could really get to grips with step one and tell people, because remember that, you know, I think I remember being very scared, very afraid, not enough. What were the things, I think what I'd like to do is tell them about the things that we liked when we first came in. What was the things, like for me, for example, when I came in, the first words I heard was welcome home. Welcome home. We will love you till you love yourself. And I cried my eyes out because in that moment, in that very second, that little boy that had always heard, oh, what's Chris done now? What's he up to? Oh, look, he comes a scallywag. Someone said, we will love you. Welcome home. Not, oh, God, he's here. And that for me was one of the most beautiful moments in recovery, and it was my very first. So have you anything like that from step one or around that time that may stick out for you?
So back in the late 90s, we didn't have online or Zoom. And so I was so scared to walk into a room with people I didn't know, and I sat in what we call the ejection seat. It's a seat right next to the door so you can pop out immediately before anybody had a chance to talk to you. And the reason I did that is because I hated myself so much. And I was so afraid that if you got to know me, you would hate me just as much as I did. Well, one day, an old timer came out and she stopped me. And she just gave me a big hug and I just cried. And she said, I've been there. That's why I'm here. Come on, let's go talk. And it was that woman who didn't know anything about me, coming outside running after a wretch like myself and loving on me. And I never want to forget that because I always want to be that woman that is there for other women the same way she was for me. So they told me don't drink between donuts because we had donuts in our meeting. And so those are some of the special moments when I first got to AA. As related to step one, that word surrender, I thought it meant the white flag, give up, and I'm not a quitter, right? But, the true surrender is this side's not working for me. Let me go ahead and walk over to your side. Let me see what you do. I don't have anything to lose. You can't fall off you can't fall off of the floor. So what do I gotta lose? And so for me, it was freeing to admit that I was an alcoholic and an addict. And there was a weight lifted from me in that step at that time. There was
Yeah,
a weight.
definitely.
And then the second part, my life is unmanageable. And that my sponsor had to walk me through because I didn't know how it was unmanageable. And she said, so you didn't drive with your head out the window and pouring down rain with the windshield wipers not working to get drugs? And I said, oh yeah, well, I did do that. She said, that's unmanageable. And so that's why I needed a sponsor to help me figure this stuff out.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've touched on two great points, and I'm going to try and come in on both. So that word surrender, I had a real issue with that when I come in as well. It was like, how can a 6 foot plus guy who has always been able to, in his head, look after himself, and he was the bee's knees, he knew everything and could deal with everything. How could I be powerless over multiple addictions? How could I allow these inanimate objects to be controlling me? So it did take a long time, and I believe I've only truly surrendered now to the next part, which is the unmanageability, because I kind of came in arrogantly saying, yeah, I know it's unmanageable because my life's messed up. But that's all I knew. I knew it wasn't a normal life. I knew it wasn't what some members of my family were capable to doing, and it wasn't what my neighbours were doing. This that life stuff that we hear about, Linda, that we're trying to do
Right.
now, like just the simple things, brushing your teeth. Now that sounds silly, but that simple task, if I struggled with that, which I did, and I didn't realise, then clearly my life's unmanageable, because if I can't even handle my own teeth, then I've got no hope of anything really. And I remember spending my whole time trying to control everything and everyone, and it was, it was freeing coming into the rooms and being really taught about the condition, if you like, and what it does. Because I mean, I don't know about you, I came to here thinking I'd hear a couple of magic words and then I'll be off on my way and I could carry on drinking, as they say in one of our recovery programs, like a gentleman, but I couldn't quite get that. How about you, Linda? Did you ever get to the stage before quitting where you could go and drink like a lady?
No, and years before, I knew that I had a problem with drugs and alcohol. Here was my delusion. And to me, it made perfect sense. My delusion was, if I say it, then I have to do something about it. But if I don't say it, then it's not a reality and nobody will know. But you know what? Everybody knew. Everybody knew except for I didn't know they knew. I just thought I was getting one over on everybody. And I'll tell you what, you were mentioning brushing your teeth. When I came into the program, it was as if I needed to be taught how to make a bed, how to get up and get dressed every day, take a shower. We lose those basic things that we're taught as children. And to the normal people who don't have a problem, don't understand that. But I would go days without a shower, and, it was like I needed to be taught, okay, this is how we do it. This is what we do, and we're going to be productive. I mean, I didn't stink, but.
Well, I mean, I'm going to touch upon that now because that's really interesting. You are 25 years into the program, still in your opinion, and I'd agree. I'd suggest the same, that we're still babies, both of us in the program.
Yes.
But the short distance there is between us, those couple of 24s, I'm going to admit now that before coming to the studio and I looked around my room and I thought, Jesus, 5 years and I'm still living like my room seems to have to be a chaos. Like, it's not dirty and grimy, but it's very untidy. Like, if someone was coming round, I would want to rush around and throw it all under the bed, for example. So I still struggle with that, but I don't beat myself up about that anymore. And the other thing is the showering. Now, I live in a hostel, and it's an all-male hostel. Now, that's good and bad for two reasons. Good, because it eliminates that side of the equation for me, which is beautiful. And also bad because when there's no women about, men, we relax. There's no one to impress. So, unfortunately, sometimes in our hostel, it gets a little bit fresh, so we say.
Yes.
But yeah, it is a problem in from my experience in recovery that looking after yourself is very, because I don't know about you, and you can tell me about how you felt, but I know now when I came in, although I didn't know it then, not only did I not love anybody and had such a resentment against anybody that was outside of me, I was unable to accept where I was at. I've lost my thought a little bit, so I'm going to let you come back in, and that will jog my memory. Sorry, Linda. Thank you for the help.
So yes, I'm still a baby in the program, and you know what? It doesn't matter if you have 1 hour, 1 day, 25 or 30 years. It's the quality. Does my sobriety have quality? Am I doing my God's will and shining a light to people? Am I loving people? What is my quality looking like? And as far as you were talking about the house, where you live and it gets messy. My house gets messy too. And I guess if somebody came over, I'd want to clean it up too. And I think that goes for most people. We have that one room.
Yeah.
We have that one room where it's always perfect and always shiny. And then you open the door and things fall on you and you could get hurt, right?
Yeah.
And so, and I think that that's something that's more common than not. I don't think I don't want to say snooty people, but I don't think they'd ever admit it, but I bet if you did a walkthrough, I mean, they clean their house before their house cleaners come. So,
let's see what our viewers think about that. And if they want to, they can. If they don't have to. But in the comments, maybe just put, room or tidiness is a problem, or showering's not the. However you want to put it, let us know how. What are you struggling with? What bits early, or even if you're not on step one, you're further along. Brilliant, because we love everybody here. And tell us if you remember those things. I think that would be pretty cool. What do you think, Linda?
I think that would be really cool. The listeners put in the comments, correct?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, I think that would be awesome, because I think by y'all commenting on that will help somebody else, and you won't feel so alone. We feel so introverted and like, oh my gosh, if I say this, but you'll find out 9 times out of 10 you're not the only one, and your story may be the one that touches another listener. So let's keep on passing on the love. Don't let the chain of love end with you.
Absolutely. And you're spot on there. We just need to pass it on. And it was one of the things that you helped me with in the beginnings as well, is making me, or the group as a whole, we've got very good fellowships, and we're I know we're blessed for that. And I was able to ask in the beginning stupid questions, and you was the one who told me, well, if you're still alive, it's not a stupid question. And that stuck with me. So, as we're on step one, I'm trying to think of things that I would have loved to have known in the beginning. And one of the things you touched upon before, Linda, which our viewers or listeners, may not have understood, is the term sponsor. Would you mind taking a moment to, first of all, explain what a sponsor is, and then, if you don't mind, what the benefits are? Because you briefly touched on it, and I think you'll do it better justice than I will.
Absolutely. So the 12-step program is a program about relationships. Everything is a heart issue. So in steps 1, 2, and 3, we repair our relationship with God. Now I have to repair my relationship with myself. That's steps 4 through 7.
Okay.
Now I get to repair my relationship with you, and 8 and 9 are there. And then the rest is maintenance steps and then giving it away to someone else. A sponsor is a tour guide, and they have been through the steps and they are willing to walk you through the steps. And there's freedom, there's joy, there's, you get to put down that heavy backpack you've been carrying your whole life. How would that feel if you could just put that down? It's almost like if, you were baking a cake and you go to bake a cake and you don't like eggs, so you substitute it for ketchup. Your cake's not going to come out right, and nobody's going to want to, touch it. And so sponsors are very crucial. They're just guides. They're your friend. They're your confidant. They're your shining light.
Yep.
And they will take you through the 12 steps and clean out under the carpets of your heart and help you dust all of those places. Like a store has to take inventory. So we take stock of our insides. We take stock of our minds and our hearts.
I like that, and that's, you've put that beautifully, actually, and like a tour guide, like a sat nav, like a teacher, really. But when they're not positions of, am I right in thinking they're not positions of authority, are they? They're just they're guides. So, like if you was on a spiritual journey, they'd be a spiritual guide, sort of thing. So, and I mean, I was lucky when I came in, Linda. My sponsor literally chose me because I was crying my eyes out, and he, I remember the words, yo, homie, you got a sponsor? No, what's that? You got one now. And that was how mine went. But I know a lot of people I've heard, like I've had the same sponsor for the whole time I've been in recovery, which is 4.5, maybe 5 years, I guess. And I've been blessed with that because I hear lots of stories where the relationship may not have worked out for whatever reason. Because I was lucky and you've got longer, I'm assuming you've had a couple of sponsors, maybe not, maybe you've had the same one, but could you, if you've had multiple, could you tell me what advice you would give to someone fresh coming in if they're not blessed like me and it's put on, handed to them? What should they look for? What is it that they should be wanting to get from a sponsor?
Yes, I would love to answer that question. So as a sponsor myself, I tell the women that I work with, if you need something else, or if you don't feel like we're clicking, I want to be your cheerleader, and I want you to move on. It's not about ego. It's about finding the person that you want to be like not money, marbles, and chalk, but character-wise, shining-wise, joyful, and then ask them to sponsor you. Sponsors are not going to get hurt if you decide to move on. Okay. They just want you to stay sober. And I have had multiple sponsors. My first 2 relapsed. Well, my first one is actually a funny story, and they said no, but my first 2 real sponsors relapsed, and then I had Becky for 9 years, and then I moved to Texas, and I've had a couple in Texas. But I have a spiritual sponsor and I have a 12-step sponsor. So they work together for my good,
Yeah, because it's good that you said you have a couple, because I have one in one program, but I do have a couple in different. And again, I have a sober sense. I have a sponsor in another one, and then there's a pathfinder in which is more closer to my heritage and my belonging. But that's different. We'll get onto that another day. I really enjoyed that. I think that's really good advice about the sponsor. So, and it was nice to point out, like you said, when you move, this is another thing that I wouldn't have considered in it when I was first coming in. If I'm going to move, I need to consider that as well. That I need to check if I can continue being sponsored by the same person, or I may need to get another one. Now, again, my whole program really has been done 95% on Zoom and the internet. As you know, I've got lots of people I've not even met, and we've known each other for many years now. We're building friendships as we go, like ours. You know, it's beautifully blossoming, and it's just the fellowship is also important. So I think if we move on to from sponsorship, God, look at me, from sponsors and mentors, and now get into the other part, which I think is very important early on, is the fellowship. Because, you know, I've always been blessed with good fellowships. I've always managed. There have been some bad ones out there, but why is it important to have a good fellowship, Linda? And what is fellowship?
Okay, so may I say something about fellowship before?
Yes.
Okay, so fellowship is extremely important. But like a football game, we all love football. We're fans of the game. We sit on the sidelines. So if all you're doing is doing meetings and fellowship, you're a fan of the game. You got to get in the game and play by doing the step work. Now, you don't have to do anything, but if you want to get rid of those old ideas and those old things, I would suggest it. Fellowship is extremely important because iron sharpens iron. I might come into a fellowship and really be having a crappy day, and I will get boosted up and lifted up, and we laugh together and we find joy. And I don't have much in common with people who go out and drink and drug actively. We don't have anything in common or to talk about. It's important because we're rewiring our brains to think a different way, and we're going to change our lenses, and we're going to tweak our lenses just a little bit to see the other side of the record. Because no matter how flat a pancake is, it has two sides.
I like that. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, yeah, you've just touched upon the steps as well. So one of the things I think is also really important, and I think I'm trying to get as much in as possible in this first episode for this step one, because step one for me is the foundation of the whole program. I hear people say it's the only one you need to do 100% correctly. I disagree. I think you should do them all to the best of your ability, but that's my personal opinion. But number one is the foundation for anybody's recovery. And so if you don't do that and have that as a steady foundation, as you build on top of it, eventually it's going to topple over. And what's really funny, I'm sat here doing it with my hands, like you can see. So anyway, so the big book, what is the big book, Linda?
The big book of Alcoholics Anonymous is our instruction guide. It stands for, in my opinion, believing in God beats our old knowledge. And it's a design for living. That's what the big book is.
And so, am I right in thinking as well, there are going to be, because I'm aware of other books, there's all sorts of, every program has their own literature, is my understanding, the ones I've seen certainly. And all of them, I believe, are based upon a 12-step program principle from the same, or most of them from the same original program. And so they've been adapted for the different addictions out there. Is that correct as well, Linda?
That is correct as well. Yes, sir. And they all, step one is your foundation. You can't do anything unless you admit powerless. Because if you're not powerless, then how can you come to believe? And if your life isn't unmanageable, how can you make a decision to turn your will and your life over? So it all goes back to step one.
Yep, you're absolutely right. And I think we've covered an awful lot. We're coming to the end of today's timing in the studio. But what I'd like to do, Linda, I want to do many more of these shows with you. I'd like to actually have you working through the steps with me each month, definitely. So if it's okay, I'd like to have you on at least once a month. I'm sure it's going to be a lot more than that. But before I think about shutting it down or coming to the end, would you mind just giving a quick rundown of the steps? Now, I know we're not supposed to look forward, but when I say the steps, just roughly over, like as an overall view of what the steps do, just recap on, what 1 to 3 does, 4 to, and so on. Just give that recap. I want to leave the listeners with a kind of idea of what to look for and how important each section is, and obviously if they know that now, it's I think it'll be beneficial. So over to you.
So like I did before with repairing relationships?
Yeah.
Of course. So steps 1 is I can't, step 2 is he can, and step 3 is will I let him. Now, if I don't repair my relationship with God, none of the other steps are going to matter, because that's going to be the firm foundation which I build my house, is with my higher power. And the beautiful thing is your higher power doesn't have to be what mine is. And steps, now we have to repair the relationship with ourselves. Remember, I said I hated myself?
Yeah.
Well, step 4, I made a thorough and searching, fearless moral inventory. Step 5, I shared that with someone. And step 6, I became willing to looking at those defects of character. And then, so now I'm happy 99% of the time. I'm comfortable in my own skin because there's no more secrets. I told it all. And then, steps 8 and 9, I owe amends to people, and I've caused a lot of damage when I was out there. So I get to fix those relationships to the best of my ability. Now, if I have done it to the best of my ability and they say, get out of my house, I respect that. But I don't have to beg or crawl, and I walk with my head up high. Step 10, we fixed all of those relationships we just talked about, and step 10 is a maintenance step to make sure they're in line every day. Step 11, I pray to God for His will for me for that day and for the power to carry it out, just for that day. And step 12, having had the spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, I get to carry the message to other people to bring them hope, light, and love.
Absolutely beautifully put, Linda. And I think we've had a really good show, and we've got some real good insight. There's still some days left before the end of the month, so I'm still going to be doing step 1 some more. So if you want to come back before the end of the month, maybe help me round it off towards the end, so that if I've missed anything.
You let me know how much or how little you want me, and we will do it. I got you. I'm your cheerleader.
Now look at that,
we can
guys.
do this together all the way.
Absolutely. So there you go. You've heard it. We do this together. We can't do it alone. I thank all of you for being here today, and I hope you continue to come back. You've heard that I've got a super duper new partner on board, which is Linda, and I hope you've enjoyed her being here today. And hopefully we have left you with some inspiration, some hope, some experience, or if not, just at least answered some of your questions. Obviously, I do want to say, not obviously, but you can start your day at any point. So if up until now you've had a terrible day and now you're feeling a bit better, take that energy into the rest of your day. Go and sit down, have a coffee, enjoy the moment, and then carry on your day. I would love, Linda, if you would like to choose a poem. I'll give you a couple of seconds to choose a poem for us, or a prayer, whichever you wish. And I would love for you to take us out. So you let me know when you're ready. I'm just going to say goodbye to our audience. Thank you for being with us today. Any questions, please do inbox us. I'm going to get all the social media links up. I'm sure at this point I'm supposed to say like and subscribe and all the rest of it. Just, you know what to do. Please do, because we need to grow. We need to get this message out to as many people as possible. His will, not mine. What else is there? I think that is it for now. So yes, this was Life Equals Opportunity. I was your host, Leo, and my guest today was the lovely Linda. So Linda, if you would like to take us out.
Yes, and I just want to say, Leo, thank you for having me, and everybody who's listening. I hope I was able to give you some hope and some love today. And I'll take us out with a poem and then a prayer. The poem is Let Go, Let God. As children bring their broken toys and tears for us to mend, I brought my broken dreams to God because He was my friend. Instead of letting Him work in peace alone, I tried to help in ways that were my own. At last I snatched them back and cried, how could you be so slow? My child, He said, what could I do? You never did let go. And would it be okay for me to pray to my higher power?
Oh, yes, please.
Okay. Father, we just want to take a moment and say thank you. I am so grateful and humble at this opportunity that Leo has given me. I thank you for giving him this platform to spread the message of love, light, hope, and recovery. And Lord, I pray that if anything that was said here today that wasn't supposed to, you'll cause to fall off the listener's ears. Lord, I pray for the audience today. I pray that you just encamp them and show them something really cool today. And Lord, we just thank you for everything you're doing in our lives and everything you have done. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much again, Linda. And thank you, everybody. Goodbye for today.
I am a grateful alcoholic. And these are the 9th step promises. They're at the bottom of page 83. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we are amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We comprehend the word serenity and we know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity disappears. We lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking slips away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life changes. Fear of people and economic insecurity leaves us. We intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We think not. They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them.